Ladies and gents, welcome back. I trust you all had a great long weekend. Right now, there is a baby formula shortage in North America. There's been a lot of news coming out of the United States, but not a ton coming from Canada, even though we're having the same shortage. Here's an article from True North talking about a factory in Kingston, Ontario, that was given $225 million in taxpayer money, but is sending all of their baby formula it produces to China, while Canadian parents struggle to find it. Now, in this article, we have built in 2019, the Canadian Royal Milk Plant uses Canadian-based dairy, including cow and goat milk, to make baby formula. Canada Royal Milk is owned by the Chinese company Fei International. I think that's how you pronounce it, Fei International, but has received Canadian government funding to the tune of $225 million. Fei International is the largest domestic producer of formula for infants and young children in the People's Republic of China. And the company recently celebrated its 56th year in business. And the plant's website states, Canada's Royal Milk will manufacture formula for infants and young children using both cow dairy and goat dairy, building local supply chains to benefit the Canadian economy. Most of our production will be for export, but we intend to develop nutritional products for the North American market as well. Well, why is this going on? An ongoing baby formula shortage here has prompted Health Canada to issue a statement and to ease import rules to increase supply. In particular, demand are two types of formula designed for infants with allergies. In certain provinces, the supply of these products is not meeting demand, Health Canada said. The department has published an interim policy to recommend enforcement discretion to facilitate importation of equivalent and safe infant formulas that have been approved by a foreign regulatory authority or are allowed to be sold in foreign jurisdictions that have high quality manufacturing standards similar to Canada. Now, I understood this to be that, European countries have formulas and they can't send it over here because of labeling issues or because of issues of not meeting our regulatory standards and because of, basically red tape bureaucracy. But what we have here is we have baby formulas being manufactured in Canada to a standard that is not fit to be sold in Canada. Why? It's fit to be sold in China, but for some reason, they're able to manufacture it here, even though it's not sold or allowed to be sold in our domestic market here. In addition, baby formula is designed for infants with food allergies in order to avoid anaphylactic shock have reportedly run out of stock. My understanding is that all of the production is shipped to China because China had a major baby formula crisis back in 2008. Deleuze University food and expert Sullivan Charlebois told CTV News. Now, China did have a big baby formula shortage. I remember hearing news back in 2008 of stores in Australia being ransacked and all the formula being sent over to China at that time. Canada Royal Milk had since said that it is currently going through a regulatory process to get its products into the domestic market. So again, they can't be sold here because of our government red tape. Canada Royal Milk will be able to sell products domestically once the regulatory process is complete and approval is granted. Human Resource Manager Carrie Bitness, this has delayed the timeline for entry into the domestic and North American markets. So what is the problem? Well, it's our own government. Our own government is getting in the way. But it's funny. They're okay with giving $225 million to a company that can't even sell their products on our market because the government's in the way. Now, this, if just in case you're thinking that True North is slanted one way and they're the only ones reporting on this issue, we have here Canadian Loon posting on Twitter saying Canadian baby formula plant months away from producing domestic supply. Why is a plant that only has 150 employees and is sending all of their products to China so far getting $225 million in government funding? Where did she get this? From a CTV News article. So this is obviously also here. I'll leave the link to both of these in the description down below. You can check it out for yourself. Now, in the United States, we have Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has been making this her issue. She's been pointing out everywhere where there is no formula for American mothers to purchase in grocery stores and in drugstores. Here she is standing in opposition to a bill to send $40 billion to the Ukraine, which passed anyway. But here she is in opposition to this, saying that maybe we should take care of some domestic issues, perhaps, before we send $40 billion to a foreign country.
I rise in opposition to the Ukrainian supplemental bill. $40 billion, but there's no baby formula for American mothers and babies. An unknown amount of money to the CIA in the Ukraine supplemental bill, but there's no formula for American babies and mothers. $54 million in COVID spending in Ukraine, but there's no formula for American babies and mothers. $900 million for nonprofits and organizations in Ukraine, but there's no formula for American babies and mothers. $8.7 billion for economic support and funding in Ukraine, but there's no formula for American mothers and babies. If this is about claiming that it's about saving lives, let's be real, then we would care about war-torn countries like Ethiopia. So that's a bunch of hypocrisy because I never hear Ethiopia brought up here. Totally ignoring, completely ignoring our own border crisis, our own baby formula crisis, and brutal inflation, skyrocketing gas prices that no one can afford, but $40 billion for Ukraine? Stop funding regime change and money laundering scams and U.S. politician cover-ups of their crimes in countries like Ukraine. The American people do not support paying for constant U.S. involvement in foreign affairs while our own government fails our own country. Let me remind everyone here, we swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and our borders. We should be paying attention to our country right now. I yield back. Thank you.
Gentlelady expired.
Wow. Strong words from Marjorie Taylor Greene. But yes, we have this situation in both countries, Canada and the United States, where we have a shortage of baby formula. And now we have the government subsidizing a company that is making formula that is not even able to sell it in Canada, is shipping it right off our shores and over to another foreign country. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Please leave a comment on this. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.